Hello and welcome to the channel. This is our first bus video and the subject is the Leyland National bus, the prolific single-decker that was popular all over the UK and in other countries around the world in the 70s and 80s. So sit back and relax and enjoy the slides we've got for you. Quite a long video at 43 minutes and there's some cracking images in there which we tried to keep to the same style as our BR Blue Railway series with a bit of narration and some great pics. The Leyland National was an integral rear-engine single-deck bus built in the United Kingdom between 1972 and 1985. It was the result of a joint project between two state-owned organisations, the National Bus Company and British Leyland, designed to provide a standardised bus concept for many operators across the UK. Production took place at a factory built specifically for it in Lilyhall, Workington, which was in Cumbria, England. The styling was done by Italian designer Giovanni Michelotti, who had earlier worked on many British cars. It was intended to replace several older rear-engine single-deckers in British Leyland's lineup, such as the AEC Swift, Bristol RE, Daimler Fleetline, Daimler Roadliner and the Leyland Panther. One of the standout features of the Leyland National was its integral modular construction and modularity of components. The roof pod heating. In its early models, the long roof-mounted pod housed the heating system. This was partly to keep the heaters away from the dirt and also to provide a distinctive aesthetic. In 1976, Leyland introduced a shorter pod version and relocated the battery to under the front cab. Length variants. The bus came in several lengths. The most common were the 10.3 metre, 34 feet, and the 11.3 metre, 37 feet. There was also a 10.9 metre, 35 foot 9 inches variant built especially for Australian weight restrictions, combining the front of the longer version with the rear of the shorter version. One visual clue: in the shorter versions, most side windows were shorter, except the middle one next to the exit doors, whereas in the longer version, all windows matched in length. Ease of maintenance. The design emphasised replaceability of parts. The use of Avderlock rivets instead of standard pop rivets or welding made body repairs faster. Leyland claimed repair times could be as much as 10% faster than on conventionally constructed buses. Colour and livery. When the National Bus Company adopted its poppy red and leaf green standard colours, many Nationals were repainted accordingly. Some earlier units, including those delivered to Ribble, were repainted before entering service. London had its own London Bus Red, and London Transport eventually bought over 500 Nationals, including 69 of the later National 2 type for Red Arrow services. Series B in 1978 and the National 2 in 1979. In 1978, Leyland launched the Series B version, lighter, simpler, and with the heating pod removed. Then, in 1979, the National 2 came along, offering more engine choices, including front-mounted radiator, and a new frontal moulding, revised rear end, updated lights, and a redesigned engine door. The Mark I Nationals were fitted with the Leyland 510 engine, an 8.3 litre straight-six turbocharged diesel. However, it had an unconventional design. The cylinder heads were non-detachable, which meant that servicing valves required removal of pistons and crankshaft, a laborious process. This made it unpopular amongst operators. Because of issues with the 510, Leyland later offered lower power versions, e.g. 150 brake horsepower, to reduce cost and stress. In the National 2 versions, Leyland utilised the 0680 engine and later the TL11. An interesting twist: in 1981, a bus with a Gardner 6 HLXB engine was put into service. In an accident, damaged owner, and this led to Leyland being sued by Gardner for not offering the engine initially. As a result, from 1982, Leyland began offering Gardner 6HLXB and later 6HLXCT engines as options for the National 2. Transmissions use Leyland's own units and Voith 851 gearboxes. The first Leyland National was delivered in March 1972 to Cumberland Motor Services, registered ERM 35K. They quickly proliferated across National Bus Company's subsidiaries. Beyond NBC, they were purchased by the Scottish Bus Group, London Transport, Selneck, and even British Airways, which opted for a three-door version for use around Heathrow Airport. Refurbishment and life extension. Later, with deregulation and evolving fleet needs, many operators refurbished their nationals. This often involved installing newer engines such as DAF or Volvo, replacing body modules thanks to modular construction, and even a full rebuild known as the National Greenway by East Lancashire coach builders, where almost everything except the frame and axles were replaced. Although export was part of the ambition, the Leyland National was not a great commercial success abroad. The largest single export order was for 450 buses to Caracas, Venezuela, in 1975 to 1976. Other exports went to Kingston, Jamaica, around 125 units between 1972 and 1974, to Trinidad and Tobago, and various purchases in the Netherlands, France, and Singapore. In Australia, the bus did see a fair share of action. The Canberra system bought 70 units, some delivered fully assembled, and some built locally. Other Australian operations included Brisbane, Melbourne, and Metropolitan, Hobart, and private operators like Surfside Bus Lines. Some were later repowered with MAN engines. The Leyland B21 was a variant, essentially the national chassis, sold to overseas operators who then fitted their own bodies. Updated regulations banning step entrance buses on regular public services saw a few Leyland Nationals remain in active service. Now, in 2025, one operator, Shropshire-based Regional Transport, have former London Transport Leyland National and via Chase Bus Services, AYR 343T, which was LS 343 in the London Transport fleet, and that was active this year on local sightseeing tour operations in Shropshire between Shrewsbury and Ironbridge, and is also available for private hire. The last large operator to use them in public service was indeed Chase Bus Services of Chasetown in Staffordshire, which ceased using them in April 2007. Another creative use on the Isle of Man, one Leyland National being converted in the Manx telecomputer bus, a mobile IT classroom which operated from 1998 to 2020, which is probably longer than its bus service. More than 100 Leyland Nationals have been preserved, kept by transport enthusiasts and preservation societies alike. The original Workington factory site has since closed, and part now forms a depot for the Stobart Group. In 2022, a rally commemorated 50 years of the Leyland National at the former factory site. There have been derivatives. In 1980, Leyland National derived bodies were used in some underfloor engined articulated buses assembled by Charles H. Rowe. In the 1980s, many rail buses and multiple units for British Rail used components from the Leyland National. For example, the LEV Experimental Rail Bus, Class 140, 141, 142 and others. The bodies and parts were similar, though the front ends had to be strengthened for railway duties. The Leyland National remains a fascinating chapter of British bus history, a bold attempt to standardise and modernise urban and regional bus fleets across the UK. Its innovative modular design, ease of repair and adaptability made it popular with operators, whilst its engine and export challenges limited its global domination. Though few now carry fare-paying passengers, the fact that over 100 survive in preservation is a testament to its enduring appeal. Its design legacy even found life in rail vehicles, and it remains an icon for transport historians and fans alike. Even some of those rail vehicles now find success in preservation. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the history of the Leyland National. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell icon for more transport stories. Do visit our Buy Me a Coffee page if you'd like to show more support for the channel, and let us know in the comments which bus or vehicle you'd like us to cover next. As I mentioned at the beginning, we're only 10 minutes into a 43-minute video, so there's half an hour more of pictures, over 150 images nearly. So there'll be some music to accompany those until we get to the end of the video. Thanks again for watching. So that's the end of the first part of the video, just a natural break to help with my editing. If you're enjoying what you've seen so far, please like, share, and more importantly, subscribe. Do hit the subscribe button. By the time this video goes out, we're hoping we've got the magic 1,000 subscribers, but you can do your bit by helping with that. Click on the Buy Me a Coffee QR code if you fancy doing that as well. And we're on our way into part 2, where there's another 20 odd minutes worth of excellent pictures. Well, thank you if you've got this far. You've completed 45 minutes of watching the Leyland National story. Loads of images there, and we could probably have put that many again, given the vehicle's use across the country for so many years with so many different operators. We've only scratched the surface. One omission was London Country. They operated hundreds. I didn't manage to find any pictures to include this time. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. And look out for our next bus video, which will be about the Ailsa Volvo double-deck bus.